Before I start, I want to draw your attention to the three materials. This booklet that I mentioned this morning, and also in your conference packet, there is documentation of a presentation with the picture of an elephant. And also, another one was added, I think, in the afternoon. It's a paper written about salt, like salty salt, put in the cultural and ecological context of Northeast Thailand. And you can read them at home. In the interest of time, I'd like to focus on the PowerPoint presentation in front. Next. Next. Okay. I think everyone in this room already know or have even internalized this message, but might as well start with this story. A group of people went into a room to see an elephant, but they had never seen an elephant before. When they entered the room, it was completely dark. So they had to touch the animal with the palm of their hand. Okay? One of them touched the animal's ear. Next. Click.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. And he said, oh, it's like a fan. Click. Another one touched the elephant's leg. Oh, it's like a pillar. Click. And another one touched the elephant's back, and he said, oh, it's like a throne. In other words, we have one input or one object, which is elephant, but because it's dark, everyone has different views. Next slide. The point I'm trying to make is Mekong's environment nowadays is like an elephant in a dark room. No one can really understand its complexity, but at the same time, governments and corporates view it as a source of profit. Next. A source of profit. Engineers view it as a testing ground for hydropower technologies. Click. And the next one, click. And hard scientists believe they know it through figures and charts. Moreover, these so-called experts and authorities often dismiss views of local communities who have lived with Mekong's environment for a long time. Click.
Yes.
Okay. But what exactly are local communities' views with Mekong's environment? Okay. To understand that, last year, my colleague Bampen over there, myself, and a few other researchers decided to collect legends, folk tales, and life histories in several locations in Mekong region, with the hope that these people's stories would help us understand how local people in Mekong region view the environment. And this booklet is one of the outcomes. And actually, we also collected some Bunong stories from his community. And we'd like to share with you just two stories out of this booklet. Both of these stories come from Northeast Thailand. Next slide. The first story is called Padang and Nangai. And this is really a snapshot version. We don't have enough time to go through the entire story because it's a long story. Okay, there is a figure called Padang, okay? And he fell in love with a beautiful princess called Nangai. She lived in a kingdom called Kitanakon, okay? However, there was another figure. His name is Panki, okay? He also wanted to see this beautiful princess because actually they had been married in their previous life, okay? So, not yet. Are you pressuring me or what? Okay, so Panki, who is actually a son of King Naga, who ruled the underground kingdom, right? He transformed himself into a white squirrel and came up to this kingdom on the surface. However, the beautiful princess, she got curious about this white squirrel and asked the hunter to catch the squirrel. And the hunter shot the squirrel to death. Moreover, the hunter sliced the squirrel, and shared the meat with everyone. So everyone in this kingdom ate the squirrel meat. Now, King Naga got really angry because his son had been killed and also eaten, right? So he sent his troops, army, and sank this human kingdom. And there was a big hole on the ground, and the rain fell and the water flew in. And these days we have this big lake called Nang Hang in one of the northeastern provinces of Thailand. Okay, so this is the first story. The second story is called White Elephant Path. The creator, Payateng, okay, he made the first human couples, Sankasa, a man, and also Sankasi, okay? And they came to the earth. Sankasa wanted to marry Sankasi, okay? But Sankasi said, okay, if only you can solve my riddle. But Sankasa couldn't find the answer. So he wasn't able to marry her. Then he started off on a trip to find the correct answer. After 10,000 years, he finally found the right answer. So they got married. They lived together. They had many children. They had more food than they could consume. However, the problem was the food was not delicious and nutritious. So their children were really weak and not very smart, right? The creator, Payateng, got really worried. Okay, so he transformed himself into a white elephant. And this white elephant urinated all over their land. Then his urine, okay, became salt. So Sankasa and Sankasi used this salt as spice, and this made their food very delicious and nutritious. Okay, then their children got healthier, stronger, and also smarter. Okay, and I'll try to analyze these stories later on. But but before that, I will pass this microphone to my colleague Elle because she will show us some pictures of the region where she's been working, so that we can understand these stories in the local context. And also, this is good for the gender balance. Okay, so please go ahead.
Thank you, Toshi. And I will try to balance my idea with your idea in the story. So about why the two stories tell about the white squirrel and also the white elephant. In the local people, they said that this area is the area that have the salt mining and salt industry. But I try to learn how people relate interactions with this mineral in the northeastern of Thailand. So I go to did my research and found that there are many white things in the ground that is a source. And they say that several years, more than 10 years, that I did research about source and do something about source fighting, but with another, not within. Some few years that I become to study and try to fighting within myself and within our working group to try to raise the knowledge that we learn from the grounds. So this is the way that people make sauce in traditional way. Next, please. It more than 3,000 years by archaeologists study that they say that this area produced salt more than 3,000 years because of the people the people here used to make the metal era use salt to do the process before their agriculture. Next, please. They just collect the salinity soil in the ground, and then next, please. And then put it into the mood like this. But this is the way that they attract the salt from the soil, and try to have the brine, the salty water, to next, please. Here, the water will attract the salt, and next, please, become the brine, and they use this brine to cook the salt. Next, please. Like this. This traditional still continue until now. And I learned from the geologists. They explain the knowledge about the source. That means they said that Isan used to be covered by the sea some million years ago, and it had the salt deposit right now. So 80% of Isan, northeastern of Thailand, include Laos and some parts of Vientiane down to Savannakhhet. They are same geology structure. Next, please. And they also had the traditional of salt making. Before starting to make salt, they need to pray respect for the spirit of salt. And they do many culture related to that kind of thing. And before they harvesting, finish their production, they need to pray, sacrifice the salt to the spirit as well. We call pu tua. When they found that first see this activity, they put the salt into the ground and say that please go in the next year. So that it really way that they had relationship with the salt. Next, please. But since 30 years ago, they have many salt industry grow in northeastern of Thailand. As I said, that there are huge deposit in our northeastern region underground. So it become industry salt zone. Next, please. And it had a long history. In Nong Bo, Borobu become salty than the sea 3 times because of salt industry. And they had a big movement in northeastern of Thailand to fight again with this kind of business. Next, please. The river was killed by salinity. This is Sia River. It's tributary of Moon River. It's tributary of Mekong River. 20 years passed. The government tried to restoration to clean the chlorine in this river, but it died forever. It's still like this. And last year I've been visit to Nam Siao. Next, please. It's still like this. Nothing grow. And the same thing happened in another watershed, another river. Songkham River is a tributary of Songkham River. Now it's killed by the salt industry. Next, please. Also, some community was facing with land subsidence because of salt. Relate to the legend, the folk tale that Toshi said. The one who eat the white squirrel, that means the Naga, king of Naga, will come to destroy the city because it over consumption of salt, or you eat the meat of Naga. That's a ritual that they tell us about. Next, please. But it's not, because of another view, they don't feel like that. The salt industry grow and grow because of our modern lifestyle, consume a lot of salt. Now in Thai, people consume just 27 kilograms per year. Not consume directly, but we consume through the plastic, the chemical industry. Because salt is sodium chloride. If you separate, it can be related to more than 10,000 kind of chemical industry. Next, please. And also another bigger salt and potassium industry in Isan. Next, please. It more than 3 ล้านไร่ 3.5 billion right now. It proposed project in northeastern of Thailand. How come we deal with this kind of situation? How can we balance thing? How come we can re-enchanting with this kind of thing? So this is a challenge question that I want to throw into the panels. Next, please. This is Nong Han, the place that corrupt by Naka in the ritual, in the regions. Next, please. And this underground mining, I mean protest mining, this will be underground mining. The government proposed to store the nuclear waste or the nuclear waste and hazardous waste in this, because they say that rock soil can protect radioactive. Next, please. This is my conclusion before we turn to Toshi. More than 3,000 years that humans know the source, but only 30 years after industrialization, we destroy a lot of things. And how can we learn about this? And how can we try to balance the knowledge, the natural carrying capacity? And how can we try to find appropriate or sustainable technology for this kind of thing? Thank you. And I will turn the microphone to Toshi.
Thank you, Elle. Next slide, please. Okay, so coming back to these stories, okay. When we look at these two stories and a lot of other stories we collected, I was able to see some patterns. I would like to highlight two of them. One is in many of these stories, I was able to observe where the story talks about the origin of place names. For example, in the first story, the squirrel tried to escape from the hunter. And the squirrel goes to one place. For example, there was a mulberry garden, which is called Suamong in the local language. So this place is nowadays called the Suamong village, for example. And there are many examples like that. And also, as you can remember, probably the first story was really about the creation of this huge lake. And we like to argue that these origin episodes, we might call them, okay, play a certain role. They probably connect the local community with the surrounding landscape. They also form the community's identity, okay, among themselves and also with the surrounding environment. And these place names can probably activate the community's personal and also collective feelings of attachment with the immediate locality. These origin episodes may even encourage the local community to protecting the environment and pass on the environment to future generations. Okay, the next slide. The other feature that we were able to observe, which we might call transformation episodes. As you can still remember, in the second story this time, these two humans, the couple, was actually created out of the creator's scarf. And also the creator turned herself, I gotta be careful, anyway, into a white elephant. And also elephant's urine changed into salt. Many examples like this. In other words, in many of these stories, a spirit changed into a human becomes an animal, a plant becomes a human, and human urine becomes mineral, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of changes across different life forms. We like to argue that these transmotion episodes perhaps indicate the local community's view that life is everywhere in the environment. And this kind of view is very much in contrast with the view where humans are on top of the rest of the creature, and we have a license to rule them and kill them. Okay? But transformation episodes perhaps can offer a very alternative view in which the environment may be structured more horizontally. Okay? And life can traverse across different forms without necessarily putting one over the other. Next slide. The next 3 slides, I wanted to show that these perspectives are not necessarily only in stories, but they are really in action in more contemporary events, and they every once in a while sort of pop up. The first case is, this is not an actual case in Thailand, but late 1990s and early 2000, the Thai government was funded by the Asian Development Bank, and they tried to build a huge wastewater management project in one of the central provinces called Samprakang, in a community called Klondang. Of course, local people got upset, and they staged a very strong protest. You can see a picture right there. The project proponents, like the government and ADB, called this project Samprakang Wastewater Management Project. Okay. They said, no problem with the environment. Actually, this wastewater management plant will improve the local environment because the local environment had already been deteriorated. The local people really got upset with this claim because they knew that there was, the local environment was really rich. They had lots of mangrove, and their fresh shrimp farming and also mussel farming were really productive. So they really had to counter the project proponents' claim. And these local villagers consistently called the project Klondang Wastewater Management Plant. They never accepted to call it Samprakang, which is after the name of the province. Of course, it makes a lot of sense because the community people were familiar with the local name. But if you look at this case from the people's story perspective, which I said earlier, perhaps Klondang meant more than a physical location, especially to the community people. It includes their history, their livelihood, and everything. And they really had to fight over the meaning of Klondang. So they really had to call their struggle with this label, Klondang, rather than Samprakang, which was given from the outside. Next slide. This is another case in Thailand again. Electricity Generation Authority of Thailand was funded by, this time, the World Bank, and built this hydroelectric dam along one of the tributaries of Mekong called Pakmun Dam. Okay. Again, the local community opposed the project. However, this time, by the way, the Klondang project was canceled, luckily, but very unfortunately, for this struggle, the community people lost, and the dam was built. When they built the dam, they had to destroy the rapids, okay? You can see in the picture, rapids along this river, or in many other places in Mekong, are good spawning and also feeding ground for fish. So this carries a very significant meaning for local people. But unfortunately, the rapids had to be blasted with dynamite. Okay. Later on, some local people said when the blasting was happening, they could actually hear the rapids cry. Okay. It is very likely that they were speaking metaphorically, but again, in the people's story perspective, maybe they could actually hear the rapids cry, or even maybe the rapids did cry. Okay. The third example, next slide. I'll stop in a minute. Okay. Saying a bit about Sombath's work. In this public speech, Sombath tried to put two very important concepts, poverty and sustainable development, in the Lao context. And he says, Lao people have to understand poverty and sustainable development in Lao people's perspective. Then he comes up with this concept of Kwam Tuk and Kwam Suk, okay? And he thinks these concepts sort of correspond to the poverty and sustainable development dichotomy. However, Kwam Tuk and Kwam Suk are, in a sense, richer. They're not exactly the same, but in a sense, richer than just poverty and sustainability, because from the viewpoint of local people, poverty really has to be a very holistic concept. So here, I think Sombath is taking an approach which is very similar to ours. Just next slide. Okay. Just to sum up, we believe people's stories can be a window through which we can understand how local people try to perceive and conceive the local environment. And in that respect, we have a lot of things that we can learn from folk legends and personal histories and things like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.